Welcome to Ballet Bites, where we dive deep into ballet's evolution. Let's kick things off with the big question. Should ballet, be in the Olympic arena?
Yeah, definitely a hot topic. The debate boils down to whether the art form's subjective judging can ever mesh with the clear-cut metrics required by the Olympics.
Right, exactly. A spring feature in Art de Ballet magazine pointed out that the International Olympic Committee isn't even eyeing ballet. They argue that its judging is too subjective.
And that sets off two firewalls. Dancers craving a global stage with that Olympic backing. And, the purists who worry that chasing medals might water down ballet's storytelling magic.
Oh, for sure. Imagine ballet morphing into, a sport where the drama gets replaced by a medal count.
Yeah.
It's like trading a touching dance moment for a scoreboard.
Right, and that brings us straight into our next point, the tech invasion in ballet. Those wearable motion capture sensors are turning dancers into real-time data points.
Absolutely. It's like turning the grace of a pirouette into measurable force and torque readings, as if you could say, hey, your left pirouette torque dropped 8%, which, studios are loving.
But at the same time, I get why some dancers are a bit uneasy. I mean, aren't we at risk of reducing artistry to a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet?
True. One principal even joked, am I dancing Giselle or doing a fitness test?
Right.
It's that fear that the soul of ballet might get lost in the data.
And then there's the whole injury prevention debate. Sports science is finally stepping into the spotlight in ballet. Imagine if we could finally curb the brutal injury rate. 96% of professionals in a recent survey reported at least one injury last season.
Exactly. Ankles being the poster child. It's like comparing ballet's wear and tear to NBA players, yet ballet companies are still lagging behind when it comes to medical staffing, sometimes having no full-time physiotherapist.
That's a real concern. The push for adopting athletic rehab protocols seems non-negotiable if we want dancers to have long, healthy careers. But I wonder, do you think blending the two worlds, artistic and sport, might dilute ballet's unique essence?
That's a fair point. And speaking of blending, let's talk about the contentious area of judging, a move towards objectivity, almost like what gymnastics did with difficulty and execution scores.
Right. Yeah, so here's the idea. Assign points to technical elements, like the height of a grand jeté or rotations per second, then add an artistry multiplier. But isn't there a risk that the magic of ballet might get reduced to decimals?
Sure, and critics argue that beauty and emotion can't really be split into line items. Yet, it's interesting that younger dancers, raised on TikTok analytics, are kinda into the clarity of it.
Exactly. One dancer even said, "Did I nail that 7 revolution à la seconde? Show me the stats." It's fascinating how the digital age is reshaping expectations.
And then we have the anti-doping angle. If ballet moves closer to being a sport, does that mean a stricter anti-doping regime? Imagine random testing at a performance of Swan Lake.
Whoa, that'd be wild. Exactly. Some say it might be overkill, but others argue that if performance-enhancing substances get into the picture, they could skyrocket fouette counts. It's a whole new level of rigor for an art form.
Yeah, clean competition is crucial, not just for fair play, but also for the welfare of the artists. Institutions would need proper education and transparent protocols to roll with that change.
I totally get that, but I gotta question one thing respectfully. Don't you think that over-regulating might stifle the creative spontaneity that's essential to ballet? Sometimes the beauty is in the unpredictability.
That's a solid challenge. I do worry that too much regulation might, cool off the creative spirit. But then again, if the injuries keep piling up, how can we expect artists to push boundaries?
Absolutely, yeah. Right. It's a balancing act. On one side, you need structure and safety. On the other, the pure emotive art that ballet is celebrated for.
And that contrast really underscores the essence of this debate. Should ballet, as an elite human movement, carve out a space in the competitive sports world, or should it remain purely an artistic endeavor?
It's like having two different worlds collide. Part of me loves the idea of broadening the stage, getting that Olympic spotlight, while the other part is scared of losing the artistic soul.
Yeah, exactly. Right, and it's not just about recognition. With Olympic status, think about the funding and global exposure that could revolutionize dance companies, but then you risk turning dance into, well, just another competitive sport.
And we can't ignore the sensory revolution happening with wearable tech. Sensors now give real-time feedback, which might help dancers fine-tune their techniques and prevent injuries. But is that progress or just too clinical for art?
It's like trying to paint with a calculator, technically precise, but maybe missing that human touch. Yet precise metrics can also empower dancers to safely push their limits.
Right. So if we try to wrap our heads around this, ballet's future might very well be about walking a tightrope between rigorous athletic technique and unbridled artistic expression.
Well said. And each of these 5 big questions, from Olympic dreams to wearable metrics, injury science, objective judging, and anti-doping, are all reshaping ballet's identity.
Absolutely. For sure. And what's amazing is that whether you're all about the data or all about the art, the discourse is making ballet even more dynamic and forward-thinking.
Right. And that dynamism is like ballet's secret sauce. It refuses to pick one lane. It thrives in the intersection of art and sport.
And it's not just a philosophical debate, it's influencing real decisions. At last month's Dance USA conference, panels on sportifying ballet were overflowing with, passionate discussions and innovative ideas.
Exactly. That energy shows that the community is alive and willing to evolve, even if it means wrestling with some tough questions along the way.
Right on. And it's a two-way street. On one hand, the push for athletic protocols might grant ballet the resources to protect its artists, while on the other, the push to maintain the art form's identity invites debates about creativity versus clinical metrics.
It's a bit like trying to mix oil and water. They don't naturally blend, yet somehow when done right, they create something unexpectedly beautiful.
Exactly. I love that analogy. Simplicity in complexity. It really captures the essence of the challenge.
So as we wrap up, whether you're Team Olympic or Team Pure Art, it's clear that ballet is at a critical juncture. Its future might take on new dimensions we've never even imagined
Yeah,
before.
for sure. And that's the beauty of elite human movement. It evolves, adapts, and continually redefines itself. Thanks for such an energizing discussion today.